All right, well, thanks for coming down, guys. Let's get started. And first I want to say congratulations to Sean.
Thanks, mate.
You've had a little baby girl.
Yes.
And so tell us about that first child, tell us your experience, and also thanks for coming down. We're really excited to hear your knowledge and also to share some ideas and just talk all things shop.
Well, first of all, really appreciate you boys having me on board. And mate, like I was saying here just before we started recording, this place is unreal. I don't think the photos on social media do it justice, so really great space. So for anybody out there who's looking to get down and have a bit of a crack at CrossFit TRG, I would certainly recommend it. It's awesome. In terms of, first child, so literally this time last week, little baby girl Matilda came along, and mate, it's been a sleepless week, but unreal. I don't think there's anything that you can do that can ever prepare you for I don't know, witnessing or going through labour.
Yeah.
Unreal. Look, mate, I just sat there and I didn't do anything, obviously, but it looked bloody tough, and you sort of feel a little bit hopeless. But she did a great job. Got back from the hospital on Monday, and we're starting to get into a bit of routine now. But just probably doubled my caffeine intake, and for all the nappy changes and like I said, the sleepless nights and all that sort of stuff, mate, it's all worth it. All worth it for that little morning cuddle with the little one, mate. It's great.
Awesome, yeah. Sounds great. And just a question about when you went through the labour experience, did you tap into your personal trainer background? Like, one more push, come on.
Well, look, I was on strict instructions not to. I had to use all my restraint not to. Like, I was getting ready. I was going to say, come on, Jay. Pain is temporary, glory's forever. Yeah. Let's get it out. Just give me 10 more reps. But I think I probably would have been kicked out pretty quickly. So just tried to be sort of as quiet as possible, let her do her thing, just pass water when needed, or that's so. I'd been given that sort of speech beforehand, just to say, just keep your mouth shut, big fella. I'm already sick of your voice.
Just turn into the trainer and start running water.
That's it. Just start running water. That's it. So,
hey, congrats, and thanks for coming down and making the time as well in such a busy, hectic schedule. And what we wanted to do today was just talk about, I guess, the best introduction to the podcast is what separates you from other people, what makes you great, and what makes you stand out. Because from my point of view, I look and listen as to see what's happening in the strength and conditioning world here in Adelaide and in Australia, and your name pops up and your facility, and people have said fantastic things. And so, what is the difference? What's the Peaq difference?
I appreciate that, mate. I wouldn't call myself great. I'd just say that I'm still learning, and I was trying to develop and evolve as much as possible, sort of week in, week out. But I think whether it's a matter of just getting as much experience as possible, and for a number of years trying to be as consistent as I can in terms of getting a name out there and just volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
South Australia is a pretty small place, and probably even smaller within the sporting and in the strength and conditioning industry. So, look, I've probably used this analogy a million times, but they always say that sort of good reputations travel fast, and then bad reputations travel faster. So, I guess pairing that as well with as much accreditation as I can try to squeeze in there too. So whether it's been the undergrad degree, the level 2 ASCA, and then onto the professional sort of accreditation scheme, the master's degree, and that sort of stuff too. I think I'd like to say what separates us is the fact that we are always trying to improve, and there can be, I'm sure you guys have come across people within the industry that feel like they've done everything they can and maybe put the queue in the rack, or maybe are a little bit complacent in regards to trying to continually learn or develop, or they find some sort of training principle or ideology that they stick to and think that it's a sort of one-size-fits-all approach. So trying to, I guess, keep that open-mindedness, and be willing to take bits and pieces from everybody. You're never shutting anybody down, so hopefully that's something that has led to our reputation a little bit, and has provided us the opportunity to continue to learn and I guess maximise our programs based on all those little bits and pieces that we've put together
Yeah.
and filtered out from different coaches,
Mm-hmm.
different courses, different experiences
Yeah.
to put together what we sort of think is the gold standard. So, and
Brilliant.
I'm sure that what we're doing now will be completely different in 12 months' time and then 24 months' time, and just always just trying to learn and improve.
Yeah, very good. Like, I think that same mindset applies to athletes as well, constantly finding ways to keep themselves focused in the game. And I was listening to something the other day, and it was quite interesting. They said that in this day, business owners have to train like athletes, and athletes have to think like business owners, because you have to innovate. You've got to be entrepreneurial, and you've got to keep your mindset fresh, because otherwise everything falls apart. You feel it physically, you feel it mentally, and then the challenges are just overwhelming.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I really love that.
Yeah.
That's great. So, yeah, no, I think, and that's it in all aspects of life, whether it's business, sport, strength conditioning, whatever it might be. Just keep an open mind. Always be willing to listen and talk to people. And at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with them or implement anything that they have to say. But it's just about trying to find those little golden nuggets in every interaction that you have with people, with whatever it might be, resources and that sort of stuff too. So
yeah, cool.
For sure. That's why I was really excited to come and chat to you boys as well and continue to learn from you guys. Even in this next hour or so, I think I'm sure we'll probably have plenty of learning points, and there'll be things that'll take away from here that'll implement this afternoon at the gym probably.
Yeah, very good.
For sure.
Yeah, one thing that I've always noticed with you is you're always so open to help anyone who asks you, and that's always been absolutely fantastic. So you've always had, like, the SIGs at your place. You're always open.
What are the SIGs?
Special interest groups, so the ASCA.
I thought you SIGs.
Yeah, just punching darts and bowling fast out there.
Yeah, that's it. Straight after a workout, just go get on there.
just go light them up. Yeah. But yeah, it was always like you were always so open with everything that you were doing. So it was like really good to actually have people to actually learn off of in such an industry that's so guarded and thinks that everyone's got a special sort of source. Essentially we all do the same qualifications. We all go and do the same sort of degrees, but people just do things a little bit differently and have their own philosophies. And at the end of the day, it's a growth mindset to have people come in and to be so honest in what you actually do, to have people come in and have a look. And obviously over the journey you'd have people throw some curly questions and say why are you doing this, do you think it would be, and it really does firm up like your thinking. But you've actually seen it in not only just your sporting career, but also in your gym as well. So it's like you come in, you do your thing. It's absolutely fantastic. So I've been following you for a while now. So
I appreciate it, mate. It means a lot. And I guess feel very fortunate to be surrounded by lots of great people. And I think finding gratitude in as many areas as possible throughout the journey, it will only make it more enjoyable, and you'll get more out of it as well.
Yes.
So really appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
No, I think that's key. Talking about the idea of being grateful for things, and then also being measured in your experiences. So for me as well, running here at TRG for coming up 7 years now.
That's unreal, mate.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
It's been a
fantastic.
journey.
Yeah.
Lots of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Lots of experiences, lots of learning curves. From what I was doing at the start to what I'm doing now, totally different. And keeping an open mind is key. But one thing that I've learned that's the most important thing is genuinely caring for the clients. That you actually love them and you want them to succeed, and their success is your success. And when they are happy and they high five you, and that never gets old.
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
If that's the thing, when I've found that I'm being motivated by the wrong causes and trying to, I get my own ego involved, whatever it may be, I try to put that to the side and I just think about the member that might be quiet in the corner, struggling. Think, I want to care about that person, look after them, because a lot of the time people aren't getting that support. And so being in an industry where we can really actually be leaders and put our arms around people and say, hey, come down this way, we're going to show you how it all works.
Yeah,
it's a great opportunity.
Oh, just I know, sort of deviating off track here, but I don't know, when you were saying that about the ups and downs and that sort of stuff, I'm not sure if you guys have seen that ad on TV at the moment about the small business owner. I think it was something to do like with loans and that sort of stuff, but I just summed it up. As a guy says to another guy, he goes, so how's business been, mate? And the business owner goes, yeah, it's been great, absolutely dead, but fantastic. No, shit house is so quiet at the moment, but it's just sort of like, I thought I summed it up so well. Some weeks you think, I'm nailing this.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later you're thinking like, what am I doing? Like, why have I started this? What am I myself into?
Time to get the petrol can out and burn it down.
That's it. But no, I think another piece of advice that really resonated with me is you see a lot of business owners across the time, and I can obviously see it a lot in what you guys do here, is that you focus on just giving an unbelievable service, and the money comes later. Whereas I guess if you do it the other way around, a lot of people in a business perspective think straight away about sort of the financial benefits of it.
Yeah, the bottom line.
The bottom line, and look, although that is important, look, money comes through if your service is there, and if people are saying good things about you, and that sort of stuff too. So I think that's great, mate. You've nailed it for sure.
Well, yeah, constantly learning and trying, and I'm always happy to be corrected. You know, sometimes my own staff say, "Hey, listen, mate, you need to pull your head in a bit." Like, you're getting a bit ahead of your speed. When you can get lost sometimes, because when you're trying to just do it all yourself, that's why it's good to have a good team that can communicate with you and say, hey, let's work on this, let's change this up a little bit, and then you go, sweet, I really want to make sure that, again, I not only love the clients, but I love my staff as well. So,
and that's a credit to you for taking that feedback on board as well. Because again, I've seen instances where business owners think that it's their way or the highway, and their staff are below them and that sort of stuff, and they're sort of close themselves up, or similar to, as you talked about in the S&C industry, where everything's sort of kept so in tight, and there's lots of paranoia about, I don't want to let any secrets go, or I don't want to be taking any feedback on board, because there's sort of, I don't know, whether it's an ego thing or you just a lack of confidence in your own ability and that sort of stuff. So I think that's fantastic that you take that feedback on board as well, mate. So
100%. No, thank you. No, and sure. Well, speaking of which, we've got a new guy here. He's kind of like I think he's earned his stripes now. Joshy. We call him Freedom because he's from the States.
Freedom. I like that. There we go.
So and he's been looking all around the gym for oil, but we don't have any.
I can't find any here. Can't send any home.
So but Josh did a college scholarship with lacrosse. And he got exposed to a fair amount of strength and conditioning coaches, and did his masters over there as well. What's the one thing that you really found was the most, I guess, engaging experience that you found from a coach, or from a facility, or from, the experiences that you had while you were in college to keep you motivated, keep you focused, and feel like you're really having being looked after and having a good time?
Yeah. Well, I guess probably the most motivating thing is a strength and conditioning coach. When we had them, they were able to work with us one-on-one, so it wasn't just a set program. So they changed it around a little bit more than I was expecting first going into college, because pretty much you go to high school, finish 18, the strength and conditioning coaches in high school are pretty much deadlift, squat, and a bench. That's what you learn in high school. They go to college, you're shown how to clean, snatch, for the most part, all these different movements, single leg variations, single arm. So I think just a coach that's able to change around what they're doing, so he doesn't get set in his ways like we've been talking about, is pretty important. And then even going off of here, talking to Brendan a little bit more, in the States it's really focused on the strength part. So I would say it's more of a strength coach, not a strength and conditioning. And now here it's a little bit more of the conditioning side. So talking to Brendan, some of the different things he uses, working in college with them, I've never heard of them, so he had to explain it to me for the first time. But just someone that's able to change around their program pretty much in a split second, I think is really valuable. And that comes from different experiences, who who you're talking to and everything, and just we've been going off of keeping an open mind. Because each day someone might come in with a new problem, and if you're oh, you have to do this, it's not going to get better at the end of the day. So I think that is really important, to be open-minded and actually care for the athletes, and it got a better relationship. So, and I think that a strength coach or strength and conditioning coach that will actually go to the games and watch, you got a better relationship. So if you're actively on the sidelines, cheering us on, it was a lot better than just being in the weight room, and that's the only time we saw them. So
cool. All right.
Yeah, it's always interesting to actually see, especially with coach development and also strength and conditioning coaches, probably because we don't have that here in Australia, that high school, college way to do your apprenticeship essentially. So working in a CrossFit gym or working at a sports facility, it's a great way of actually getting practice in, because realistically, the way you treat your athlete is no different than the way that you treat someone to actually come in through the door looking to get fit and healthy. And even the way that your program, the intensity might be a little bit different, but then they still need to progress their way through. So, you know, they still need to have those different types of progressions. And yeah, if you're finishing your undergrad and just think you're going to have, you know, Travis Boak doing back squat at, you know, 250, they're probably not going to let you have that first thing off, and or, you know, have you really earned the right to actually do that. So I mean, that's why, you know, I think it's really, really important for, you know, coaches, strength and conditioning guys, sports scientists, to do their apprenticeships at this sort of thing. So I mean, number one, you're going to learn how to communicate. Number two, you're going to be able to how to actually, you know, run a session on time. It's pretty damn important when you start getting up a little bit higher levels. You can't run over. And also, you're going to do so many repetitions and seeing so many, you know, body dysfunctions. I just think it's massively important. And then you just to learn your way so you actually become more refined. I think a lot of people sort of miss that by washing dishes, like during their undergrad. So
I think the earlier and the more you can get your hands dirty, the better. Like you said, there's so many people that go into it thinking they're going to come straight out of their undergrad and roll into some sort of assistant role, whether it's with SNFL or AFL club, and it's such a cutthroat industry. The amount of S&C coaches that I've come across, or I guess aspiring S&C coaches now that are accountants, or they're, you know, like it's if it's a job that you're looking to jump into for glory, money, stability, I guess stable hours, that sort of stuff, then it's probably
it's not
going to be good for you. But if you are, I guess, passionate about the industry, and you probably have a bit of a competitive edge about you, you love seeing people improve and perform better, and you love seeing the joy on people's faces when they achieve something that they thought that was previously impossible, and that sort of stuff. Like, that's why you get into this industry. And it's that same theory again. The financial stuff will come later if you're willing to sort of put in the hard work. But look, there's still times. Look, I've been doing this maybe for 9 years now, I think, and still there's times where you're doing stuff for free, and just to get in front of somebody, or to try to make a good impression for somebody, so that you never know what that might lead to later down the track. So never say no to getting your hands dirty in any instance. There's even some of those sort of more private businesses out there as well that refuse to work with anybody that isn't involved in some sort of sport, but you can treat them however you like. You can treat them as an athlete. You can program as if you're preparing them for a football or a netball competition. It's still going to have physiological benefits that will probably lead to that sort of toning up or whatever it might be, or improving their dysfunction and things like that too. You don't have to necessarily tell them that that's why you're doing it, but again, it gives you that opportunity to watch your body move, to communicate, to actually implement something, and see what works, what doesn't, and that sort of thing too. So get out there and just do it, really.
I like what you're saying as well, that idea about getting in front of people, getting your hands dirty, and not saying no to opportunities. And it's that idea about being available to succeed, or being available for success. So the success that people will experience in the gym and outside of the gym will be if you're available for it. If you're showing up, you're turning up, you're having good routine as well, and you're looking after your mind and you're looking after your body, and then the success will flow. And I really think that people these days are pretty focused on always experiencing comfort and not trying to put themselves into situations where they have the discomfort, with the faith that the good things will come.
And look, I know plenty of people that are probably smarter than all four of us, right, put together, but they just don't have those people skills, and as soon as they get put in front of a squad of 30 guys and tell them they have to do a 2K time trial, or all right guys, today we're going to run through this warm up, like they go to water, or in those situations, like you guys will know, if you give some of those athletes an inch, they'll run a mile.
Absolutely.
They've been doing this for probably the majority of their lives, most of them, and they just want to sort of get it done, get out of the way. Most athletes really want to kick a footy or shoot hoops. Like that's really what they want to do. Like you'll get some really diligent ones that obviously want to look after their bodies, and they will do it because they know it benefits them. But at the end of the day, if you give them the choice, all right, we're going to go kick set shots, or we're going to come in and focus on hang cleans, they'll go kick set shots every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got to like I said, get those people skills, have a bit of resilience, maintain a little bit of, to a degree, authority over them as well, and learn how to find that balance between being somebody's friend and somebody's coach
and leader.
Because I've seen that sort of blended a few times too. I've seen some guys that have some great personal skills but end up going out and having drinks with their athletes on the weekend, and you blend that line, and then all of a sudden they've got a bit of dirt on you because they've seen you done something stupid while you're pissed on a Saturday night, and you
say that as if you've experienced it before.
I've seen I've seen it happen to some people for sure.
Sure. So, one thing that, but that's interesting. All those points that you talk about, being a good leader and a good coach, is what I think Josh is also alluding to as far as how to really be engaged with the client as well. I'm also interested to know, what are your thoughts as a strength and conditioning guy in the performance industry about CrossFit?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Look, if you'd asked me a few years ago, I'd be honest with you, I would have thought CrossFit, that's terrible for you. Like, people are just getting injured and that sort of stuff. But again, that was before I was educated about what it was, and even meeting Brendan and seeing his presentations at the SIGs and that sort of stuff. And again, keeping that open mind and learning about it and looking at the philosophies and that sort of stuff. I think it has great merit to it for sure. There's obviously in terms of the type of lifts that it teaches you and the principles behind it, I think are great. Obviously, with somebody who's more like in the elite system or a semi-elite system, you have to sort of use bits and pieces sporadically because they have such big training loads. But for people out there who want to take their fitness a bit more seriously and learn some of those really key lifts that we do use with elite athletes, and I think it's I've certainly sort of gone full circle for sure. Yeah,
cool. Because I think that a lot of people do think that the word CrossFit or a CrossFit gym is the same whether you're here, down there, or across the other side of the country. But each CrossFit gym, the only thing they have in common is the word CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then what differentiates is the ability to program exactly how you want to program according to the specifications of the client. And essentially the word CrossFit is just a vehicle for expressing fitness, a vehicle for giving fitness to people and helping them to get better at Olympic lifts, or some CrossFit gyms don't even use Olympic lifts. They don't really teach much of the snatch, clean and jerk at all.
Yeah, for sure.
So it does come down to the culture of what each individual CrossFit gym wants and the experience.
The stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Like, so for me, I've always sought out the best of the best. And then Sean's like, well, why haven't you picked me? It's like, you're taking me.
Not silly, not at all.
So I got this guy here.
Got the best.
Yeah, and Brendan knows his stuff. He's a very well respected coach in the CrossFit circle as well, and he also presents at strength and conditioning seminars, and you chew his ear off and he'll chew your off.
For an extra. Great.
Yeah,
I love it.
He loves his stuff, so it's fantastic.
No, really good. Like you said, and you could have somebody who has never been involved in CrossFit before and has done it with their just only sort of strength and conditioning accreditation and so on and so forth, and they could deliver a poor program. Like you said, it all comes down to the coaches themselves. So I think you could be doing Zumba at the end of the day if Zumba is implemented in the right context and
it's
and
great for
you. It could benefit the right people at the right time. And so I think there's always it's always context, really.
Yeah. So I've got another question as well. What are your thoughts as far as the future for? Because there's been an explosion of micro gyms. Some aren't so good. Some are fantastic. I personally think the professional ones are the ones that are going to rise to the top and continue to just crush it. But what are your thoughts as to where are we going with fitness in the future? What does it look like for South Australia? And what is your vision for Peaq, and what would you like to do moving forward?
It's a really interesting question. I've thought about that a few times, to be honest with you. It seems to be a massive boom at the moment. You just think, can we keep sort of growing the way that we are at the moment? Like you said, there's micro gyms popping up everywhere, and whether it could be group class gyms or CrossFit gyms or performance gyms and so on and so forth. I think there might get to a stage 5-10 years time where that either sort of levels off or we might start to see some of these dropping off because of the there's just such a number of them around the place. The saturation is probably the word I was looking for. Hopefully, people like us are starting to change a little bit of the perceptions and the ideology within the industry, and maybe some of those sort of purely group class, I don't know, I don't want to name that, like the F45 style sort of training aren't as in demand, and people train with a little bit more purpose.
Yeah.
And I understand that not everybody wants to be an athlete or move better and that sort of stuff too, but get people, even if they're your regular everyday Aussies, to try to have a bit of or find their why behind why they're training, rather than just jumping up and down on a Bozu ball for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And look, I think it's obviously that the F45 style is a great model, and good on them. They've done a fantastic job, and they're making the community a lot healthier and that sort of stuff. But
it's great.
I guess my future vision would be that we see South Australia and Australia in general just having a bit more purpose and maybe a bit more knowledge about why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
In terms of my plans for Peaq, I'd love to. I don't ever envisage us expanding to multiple locations or anything like that. I think I've always just been worried about quality control. And maybe a bit of a criticism of myself is in terms of growth. I will need to maybe step back a little bit, but at the moment, I'm sure like you feel the same. Like I just want to have control of everything and make sure everything is running. It's like my other little baby, like making sure that everything is running smoothly. And so I'd love to see just our one location grow bigger.
Yep.
I think Western Suburbs has been fantastic for us. I've sort of seen that as a bit of a sporting hub. We're sort of sandwiched between Port Adelaide and West Lakes. There's lots of development going up there at the moment and that sort of stuff. I'd love to go a full-size basketball court, just so, because that's been a point of difference, but it's been really, really popular.
Yeah.
We can run it. We can be fairly versatile with what we run on there. So whether it is your group classes, or we do a lot of your physiological testing on there. So your beep test, yo-yo test, vertical jump. We've got timing gates, so you do your 20-meter sprint, agility, and that sort of stuff. We go to a bigger gym area.
Yep.
So just really probably increase the amount of platforms you can fit in there. Maybe a few different bits and pieces. Like I'd love to get some belt squat setups, some stations that are purely made for hip thrust and that sort of stuff, rather than just trying to do it off the edge of a bench.
Yep.
Yeah. We'd go maybe even like a recovery area too. So a pool, maybe some contrast bars and things like that too. So
very nice.
That would be the goal, just sort of make just a big high performance centre. Increase the amount of, like I saw, it looks fantastic. You guys have got it pretty much like allied health services here, which is great. Maybe like we've just got a physio in there at the moment. Maybe sort of expand that as well. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah, just really nail one location. I'm not here for world. I always joke that I'm trying to take over the world, but I'm not genuinely here for world domination. Just want to make a community of people really happy and hopefully impact a few lives and maybe be a very, very, very small component of helping some people to get drafted or sort of
that'd be awesome.
achieve their sporting goals in the future. Very good. For sure.
Yeah.
So what about you guys? I'll flip the switch. What about
okay,
TRG?
no, thanks for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're like, really, I love the gym. You know, I love it at the moment. We've really built quite a few cool things in here.
Yeah.
We got heart rate monitors to check VO2, intensity. We do competitions about who can hold it in the higher zone for longer.
Beautiful. Who's winning? Who's got that at the moment?
Well,
out of you two boys or three boys?
I'm a weightlifter, so my heart rate doesn't go above 117.
Well, you don't even have a heart, mate. So
yeah, that's true.
No, there's a gun here at the gym called Nick. She does like 13, 15 classes a week here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so she always jokes as well, and she says, and she won't mind me saying this either. She says, I can win because I'm single.
There you go.
I got nothing else going on.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
So
that's fair.
She's a good laugh.
So
what we have is, I'm going to build a mezzanine floor so we can add an extra 12 platforms. That's the goal. And as we continue to have so many clients and people getting involved and signing up, I don't know if all those cameras have actually gone off.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's going to be an audio only.
I've got the head for audio only podcast. That's right.
Sweet. Yeah, no, that's right. We'll finish off with audio only. So if you're still here listening to us, that means we've gone past half an hour.
Yeah.
So keep listening if you're keen to hear our voices. It's just continue to build, continue to refine the processes. And sometimes there is that addiction to constantly adding. And one thing I learned from one of my mentors was that there may have been a space where your gym was actually where it needed to be, but because of the A-type personality, the entrepreneurial mindset, you keep adding complexity to the program, adding complexity to the system and to the business, which can cause a degree of decision fatigue, or at least experience fatigue. And so simplicity is key. So one thing I'm really always mindful of is trying to make it as simple as possible so people can really engage in the core products, which are coming for results, staying for results, and then just sharing those results with friends and family and really enjoying it, like having a good time and laughing and smiling and high-fiving.
That's great.
That's what we're about.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
I love it.
And that more aligns to like my philosophies as a coach is like just keep it simple and coach the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And that's
Perfect.
it. You don't need to be just do the basics really, really well, and just make sure that you're there and you're coaching the living daylights out of it.
For sure. Fantastic. That's great. I love that.
Awesome. Well, we'll probably get you back to your little one now. Or actually, we've just got to do a bit of lifting, so we'll do a little bit of that. Nothing too crazy, but
throw some weights around.
Let's do it. And
Nice.
Thanks for coming down, man.
Not at all. Thanks for having me, boys. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed it, and looking forward to more of these catch-ups in the future.
I look forward to it as well.
Sounds good.
All right.
Cheers, boys.
Peace out.
See ya.